We're live again, guys. Whew. What are we at here? Episode 12, I guess. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dustin Brett, software developer in Canada. You're watching me live stream recoding my project, x.dustinbrett.com. Check it out. I'll show you guys in a second, actually. Kind of like an OS in the browser type of thing, web, desktop environment, whatever you want to call it. I can give you guys a quick flash right away. Just so you already know, level the playing field here. So that's what it is. It's kind of like a Windows looking thing. Got my blog here. Got my got like a file browser. Got DOS, of course. You need DOS, functional DOS, so including having to type it correctly. Wait, what? Oh, there we go. All right. I guess it doesn't like that bracket. Feel free to throw me a message in the chat, by the way. I'll just actually do the pop-out chat right here so I can see it in front of me. Feeling slightly under the weather today, and I don't have a ton of stuff prepared, so we'll see how it goes. But I've got more conversational stuff than code this time, so we'll see how that goes. And I've got some styling that I've been working on, and I'm probably gonna copy, paste, dump it in there, and then we're gonna go. Well, I mean, like line by line. I'm gonna go. We need this. We need that, and I'll kind of just show you as I go. So that should work. So yeah, this is the file browser. Got Doom on here. I'm gonna mute this tab, and then it already muted. It's already muted, so presumably there won't be any audio here. Yeah, there we go. But got Doom here. I could play a few seconds of Doom. I think that's okay. Little boom, boom, nice. I don't know if you guys know the secret door over here. Actually, let me full screen this in my web OS. This is on my website. Oh no. Oh, there's a glitch. I already found a glitch. Oh yeah. So if you press space, it's thinking that's considering that like a taskbar click. Well, this is the old version. This isn't the one that I wrote. Isn't there a door here? I thought it was gonna show you guys a surprise, but I don't know where that door is now. There's supposed to be like a hidden door here, I thought. All right. Wasn't there a door there? I'm probably wrong. Someone will tell me later, but that's Doom. And I had a few other games too. You see here how I got kind of the behaviors right too, like double clicking there, maximizing. That's how it works in Windows, and got some cool animations and stuff as well. I want to try to copy all of that. Got a start menu. That's one of the things we haven't done yet. We've done a lot though, actually. We already got the icons, we got the window, we got a file manager, we got a taskbar, we got a start button, we got a clock, we got a wallpaper on the new version, which I can show you guys here. I'll just peek you guys at it. This is what we have now. The wallpaper is slightly brighter colored. I don't have any of the hover animations here. I do have the start button. You can't see the clock because it's in my way. I'm in the way of it. I guess I could move my little code picture, my guy. Let me move my video up here, and then you can see the clock as well. Whoa! Cool. There we go. So there's the clock now. Where is it? There. That we've already built. And if you double click this, you get a window that is not styled at all. That's something we're going to style today. But one of this is the title bar. Yeah, the title bar is this top thing here. That's supposed to be the little icon. This is the text. You see I can drag it. I can resize, but it visually you can't tell I'm resizing it right now. There's also minimize and maximize and close buttons hidden somewhere in here. We're going to style this thing right away and make this look a lot better. And then we'll kind of go over it. So yeah, what else did I want to get into with introductions? Again, just thanks for checking out my video. Yeah, let's just dive right into it actually. So the first thing I wanted to go talk about is the episode recap from last week. I do these every week. Check out the commits, because I do commits for everything I do. I did my usual updates, a lot of little refactors and stuff. I made my own custom double click handler, so we can handle those double clicks, like as you saw when I double clicked the icon and it opened. And added the minimize and maximize functions. We already had close and open. What else did I do? Created the title bar component. I added resizability and draggability using the React R&D library. Ouch. Sorry guys, I got a bit of allergies today too, so I'm a little stuffy. I'll try to keep my sniffles to a minimum. And that's about all we did though, but that was quite a bit, honestly. But without the styling, it kind of looked like we didn't accomplish a lot when I watched the video again and look back at some of the stream. So I want to have it not feel that way this time, hopefully, for you guys. And yeah, I think we've done the recap. Let's just get right into the code then. Oh wait, no, let's not get into the code. I wanted to do things a little bit different this time and talk about updating the README with an agenda. And I've already written the agenda, so we don't have to just like think about it randomly. I'm gonna paste it in here. I'm just gonna copy it from my commit history of my branch that I kind of do throughout the week to kind of get ready for this. So we'll open up the README. We'll see it's pretty empty right now, and we're gonna bulk it up a bit. I'm just gonna boom paste that in there. Let's move this little window out of our way, and let's just take a peek at this. I think I'm gonna increase the text size slightly so you guys can see it a bit better. There we go. That helps a bit. So basically, I just wanted to kind of clarify what we got going on in the future for the project, and at least my hopes for it. And at least we have to get it up to snuff of what V1 was, version 1, which I just showed you guys. So I've kind of written out a lot of what V1 does and some of the things it didn't do. And they're all kind of on this list, and we'll go over them. I've ordered it by basically, so the top piece here, so this is written in markdown.md. It's just like a type of document where you can kind of, with VS Code, if you right clicked it, you can go preview and you can kind of see a formatted version of it. And it's also the same thing on GitHub that they use for other stuff. I mean, just look up markdown files. So this is in markdown format anyway. So are all our show notes. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I don't know if people knew about being able to right click and do preview on Markdown. So that's just part of VS Code, by the way. That's not an extension. So yeah, let's go through what I've written down here. So I got my to-do section in which we have the operating system itself. We have apps for the operating system, and we have bugs that we know that are known to deal with. For ideas, we got kind of things that I want to do next that I haven't really decided if we'll do yet. And then limitations is just kind of my way of saying things that are not good enough yet, such as the styling could be more accurate, blurring of the taskbar and stuff doesn't work in Firefox, image loading needs some work. I've got a tool I can use for that, what is it called? Next Images or something like that. I've forgotten what I use now, but there's a plugin that's not the one that comes from Next.js that is actually, I find, preferable. The beta version of it. And we need more tests, and I'd like to do some Cypress end-to-end testing as well. Haven't really played with that too much, so I want to get into it. As far as ideas I have, once we get this Windows 10 theme, I'd like to have a Windows 2000 theme. I'd also like to do a light version of this Windows 10 theme because we're doing the dark one right now. And also there's like a little bit of CSS we can use to kind of detect what the computer viewing or what the browser says. I want dark mode, I want light mode. I think YouTube does that basically to give you dark mode or light mode. So it's a cool little feature. I'd like to host my old websites and my old apps on my fake OS. I'm also going to switch over. I think this time, once I'm done V2, I'm going to completely switch over to dustinbrett.com is just going to be this instead of x.dustinbrett, I'm just going to completely go like, this is my homepage for the foreseeable future. And it could be forever, for a long time. I mean, yeah, it doesn't require much. It doesn't even require a server at this point. So game save collaboration, that would be insane if we could do that. Like people that visit my website can kind of have different game saves. Almost like I was thinking like an arcade, like if I have Pac-Man game or like that Doom, and if you could save your like stats or something, like you got this score or Asteroids, let's say as an example, you go into a bar, you play Asteroids and you see the guy who had the other score. If I could collaborate those game saves, that would be insane. I don't know how possible it is, though, to be honest. I think it would be very game specific. Maybe on a per game basis, I might be able to figure it out. But I don't know if there would be some general way to merge different game saves. I think that's the tricky part. So who knows? It could be a fun idea. What else? Build number at the bottom right. Yeah, just like how Windows, when you get like the insider builds or the beta builds or you haven't activated, and the bottom right kind of above the clock, it's like tells you what build number you have sometimes. That would almost be kind of fun to have that kind of matches my Git repo version. So people visiting my site know like that they have the latest version, but I don't know. That's kind of a silly one. And Easter eggs, I thought would be fun too. Just have some little hidden stuff in there. I mean, the people that watch my streams would know what the Easter eggs are, but people just visiting the site wouldn't, So they'd have to find it. So what do we need to do still for the OS? So much. Session management. We don't have anything being saved right now. I mean, currently we don't even have it being remembered. Like if you move the window or resize it and close the window, when you reopen it, that's all gone. That we might fix today. I'm not sure. I'm still kind of working on the ideal mechanism for that. So we'll see. Icon positions. I never did do that in the old one. The saving of icon positions between refreshes of the page. Startup apps. It'd be cool if people could pick apps that they want to start up, or like if they open an app and then they leave my page and they come back, it'd be cool if that app was still running, running in quotes, rerunning maybe, let's say. And also the state of a window being maximized. I think that's something that Windows saves. I could just test it right now here. I open a window, I maximize it, I close it, I reopen it. Yeah, it's maximized. So I'd like that as well. That's something I never had on V1. Just try to copy every single behavior and get every single style perfect. That's always ideal. The start menu, we need that. We still need the start menu, and that's a whole bag of worms. I haven't kind of put all the details in there, but there's a lot to the Windows 10 start menu with its buttons on the left and like its menu that scrolls out and its multiple blurring effects. We'll have to get into that. The windows themselves still need some work. We need all of our animations for minimizing, maximizing, opening, and closing. Opening positions. I'm thinking maybe the windows will open in the center. I think that might be how V1 works. I don't remember. But I also always wanted to do the like cascading way. I don't know if I ever got that working properly on V1, where like a window opens and they kind of cascade down. And Windows is pretty clever with that, where you can move one and then there'll be a gap, like it knows to just keep iterating, I believe. Or, I mean, however it works, I'd like to copy it, but I never really got it perfectly correct. That's why I want to clean up the code and make a lot of this window stuff so tight and so very clear cut and all component separated that it's very easy to just like be obviously at it, because I think it became a bit of spaghetti, my V1 for the Windows stuff. So what else? Titlebar text truncation. Yeah, the titlebar text. I never really got the styling perfect on that, I think. Or maybe I did, but I haven't recently. So I made a note for that. I think this styling that I'm going to show you guys today, I don't have that little piece. Those are like the edge cases almost. I mean, I think like you can minimize you could resize the window so much that it looks messed up. Like I haven't got a few things figured out yet. So I think in the later streams, once we got all the like basic stuff figured out, then we'll get into all those edge cases of like resizing the window too much or too little, or if you drag it off and then how can you get it back, We're going to set up some bounds today actually, so that the windows can't go outside of the desktop. Task view. Oh yeah, that's like expose or whatever, or like Windows key tab, where if you have windows over top of them and you press a button, they all kind of go out. Mac has something like that too. I don't remember what they call it, but it'd be good to have that. That would be, I never had that I also. And then that would be something I could add a button in the taskbar, because there is a taskbar button that Windows can have for that. Focus behaviors, index history. I just need to recreate these. Focus behavior is like which window being active changes its color and also keeps track of which order you've kind of done the last couple in. And just a few different things that Windows does that are kind of subtle that we have to copy. And also the ability to maintain aspect ratio. That's important for some of the like the DOS stuff where you want it to stay at that, like whatever that is, 4:3 or whatever aspect it is. For the desktop, we don't have icon dragging yet, and I'd like to have a snap to grid type of thing. Don't have it yet, but that's something I'd like to have. Something Windows can have as well. And text truncation. That's a tricky one for desktop icons, because when you actually see how the Windows desktop icons work, it's interesting the way that it truncates, and it can do multiple lines and then decide ... and then when you focus on it, it spans out, and then if one icon is over top of another one, they kind of act differently. So there's a lot of little tricky edge cases there if you want to get every behavior correct. And I don't know, whenever we get into that, I'll probably show you guys a virtual machine and we'll go over all the things that I've noticed that Windows does that we try to copy with CSS and JavaScript, basically. What is this? Taskbar. Yeah, the only thing I have left in the taskbar at the moment, other than all the colors not being perfect, is that the start button and the taskbar entries, there should be a little bit of spacing in between there, because there is in Windows. There's like 3 or 4 pixels. I don't know. I have it noted here in my list now because I haven't dealt with it yet. I need to just double check what that is, so I'm not going to mess with it today. File Explorer, yeah, we don't have a... That's actually an app. This should be in the apps, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, this is an app. This isn't part of the OS. So let's move this over to apps. I mean, it's basically... Well, no, I'm wrong. Because I use the File Explorer to handle the desktop. Well, no. I use the File Manager. But the File Explorer will be like a use case for the File Manager, if that makes any sense. This is just my jargon, I guess, at this point. But you know in Windows how there's a File Explorer where you can open it up and you can look at the different folders and files. Well, I have a component called the File Manager that just is basically a list with files. And we can style it different ways, like style it to look like it's in a window in a File Explorer, or style it to be the desktop icons, or style it to be the start menu entries. So that's why I say File Explorer is an app, because it's just one use case of this File Manager, which is like a thing for listing files different ways, if that makes any sense. So I did move it into apps. So let's not talk about that just yet. And let's go back to what was next. The right-click menu. That's something I never had in V1, but I think it's a cool little feature to have. And if you get it right, that'll be really cool, because most websites don't have those right-click menus, or they're very contextual. But to totally essentially recreate a Windows-like or OS-like right-clicking and completely just replace the browser essentially in all use cases, that'll be cool. And to have anywhere you click essentially acts like you right click the clock, it acts like you right click the clock and you get right click options, or the desktop, or an icon, or blah 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 blah, you know. And that'll get deep. Once we have a right click menu, then we need to make a bunch of stuff like property windows. We need like the list where you hover over it and then you get another list. I don't know what you call that. Almost like a drop down. I think for that, we could probably just keep re-rendering these file managers. Like you hover over a folder and then it opens up a new essentially box that's another file manager with the contents of that folder, you know? And the system tray. I never did the system tray in V1 either, because I don't have anything running in the background. But I think it's cool to have. We could even do some neat stuff with it. Like I could show battery indicator, and then if you're on mobile, then I could actually probably see your battery life, you know, and it would look kind of like how when you're on a laptop in Windows, you see your battery and that's legit your battery. So that'd be kind of neat. That's a little meta there. Sorry guys for the sniffles here again. Double apologies. So let's get into the apps that I want to do here. So I mean, as I said, the File Explorer, it's that thing that for viewing the files. I wanted to base it on this new build that I've heard about, 21337, which is like, they probably did that on purpose, the Leet thing, I think. But I just saw this is just recently, like a couple of days ago, another build for Windows came out, because later this year, they're going to be switching their OS style a bit. Just so you guys know. Just some of the stylings and some of the features, like adding taskbar things and changing the way File Explorer looks, apparently. I haven't really seen it, but I want to base the way my Windows looks basically on how the newest Windows will look. I think that's cool. And then it keeps it the most dated, because like a new Windows is coming out and I'm in the middle of styling this Windows clone. So it's like perfect time to copy the newest stuff. And apparently if I get one of these new insider builds, that's possible. So it's something to consider. Drag and drop support. Oh, that should be in the file manager. Yeah. Drag and drop support is part of the file manager that I need. That would be cool for the desktop and for File Explorer to be able to drag a file on and just have it drop there and copy right away. But the File Explorer will have file search. That's where you'll search for files, is in the File Explorer. So that's why I have that there. DOS, that's a popular one. You guys saw in V1 I had DOS. It's actually not so hard. So as soon as we've got things kind of cleaned up for our Windows, I might jump right into DOS. I mean, we need a start menu. I want to get the start menu kind of ready. But then let's jump into DOS, I think. And I got kind of a wish list of games here. I was thinking the other day about these games. Maybe I can host them, because like there's lots of places that do host them. And if I host the shareware version, that's like the whole point of it, like to share it, kind of, you know? So it's not like I care that these are full versions or nothing. So I'm happy with shareware. That Doom, I think, was shareware. An IRC client, I wanted to have that. For that, you need a server. So this is kind of lower on the list, because I want to just stick to front-end stuff right now, or not needing like a back-end thing. Because you just need that to handle the connections. You can't do it. You can't directly connect to it. So current limitation. Clippy. That's a cool one. If you guys know Clippy, the little Clippy, what is he? Paperclip, I guess. Paperclip guy that talks to you. There's a JS version that someone's made, and you can use it as a virtual assistant. I think there's a wizard one that I'd prefer to use. So Winamp, WebAmp. Oops, if you double click, it goes in there. I didn't know that. So WebAmp, Winamp, as you guys know. Maybe I should have put Winamp there. Basically, there's a thing called WebAmp that's like a Winamp clone for JavaScript. It's pretty cool. I don't know if it has Wave support, but it has MP3 support, and I think it has M3U for like the playlists. So that's pretty cool. I think it can do streaming too. I'd like to have some streaming playlists on there. I remember like 20 years ago, I used to have that. Like I would play on Winamp some kind of Shoutcast streams or something like that. I don't know if Shoutcast servers exist still. Something to think about. A PDF reader. I'd like to get that. Code editor that can do Markdown and JavaScript. That'd be cool. If you go to my website and you can like look at some of the code I've written in a code editor and kind of play with it. I don't know if we'd be able to run it, but maybe. Emulators, that would be insane. I mean, we've already got Doom, but like there's Super Nintendo emulators, N64 for JavaScript, MAME, which is like arcade emulators. Then I could really get into that idea I was telling you guys like about asteroids or something. But I don't know how game saves would work. Maybe MAME has already got something figured out for that. Who knows? V86, that's another really cool one. That's essentially like, maybe I'll show you guys V86 because that one's just like a mind blower. I don't know exactly how I'd get this in my OS. I think it's not super hard. But V86 is basically a complete OS running x86 environment that you can run in JavaScript. And look at the ones he's got here. So let's say maybe I could show Windows 98 in my fake OS. Oh man. Jeez, it's got the startup sound. That's loud. So you see how fast that was? That's insane how fast that was. Like this is, we're literally in Windows 98 now. This is running Windows 98 in my browser. Like it's pretty crazy. You can see it doing stuff. Like it's really slow, but I mean, when you think about how fast my computer is and to think that this is slow, like I don't know how slow it would be on a normal computer to do this. But it's partly just the emulator, and it doesn't even, I don't think it matters how fast your computer is. I just don't think it's using it efficiently. But still would be really cool. Like, so imagine that would be like in a window within my thing. And this is open source, so that's totally possible to do. So that would be insane. Back to the list here. Yeah, so if I had that, I would probably do like a Linux one and a Windows if I could. A task manager. I'd like to have a task manager. I mean, we got these processes and stuff, so I've already got this internal idea of processes. So let's use it and show a task manager and start showing some cool stuff. Notepad. I think Notepad's going to be one of the first ones I make because you can open anything in Notepad pretty much. I mean, a lot of it can look like gibberish, but I think it's cool if I could just have a generic, you know, like how in Windows when you don't have a program for something and you get that open with dialog. And a lot of times you can pick Notepad, and if it's a text-ish document, you can read it. If it's not, it's going to look like gibberish. But you can throw anything at Notepad and it's going to give it a shot. So that's almost why I want to have this like open with concept, and I'll have Notepad as an app, and that'll just be like the default. And I think that's a cool idea. So like I said, that'll probably be one of the first apps I make. I never did it in V1, so believe it or not. But it's actually, I mean, it's pretty easy. It's just a text area styled to look like old school Notepad, you know? Browser. This is a cool idea, browser. At first, I kind of dismissed this because I thought, oh, in iframes, you can't, because of cores and stuff, you can't do that. But I've been seeing, I saw this one website here. Where is it? Slive or something like that? I have it bookmarked here. Here it is, Slive OS. So these guys, I looked at their code, and they basically have done a cores proxy type of thing to allow it to basically load pages. Like you see, this is like a fake browser in their fake OS. And you can load my website. For some reason, the desktop icons don't load. This might be part of the cores proxy or something, but the clock works, as you see. Like a decent amount works. And yeah, there's no buttons. Like they screwed it up. You could I bet, why can't you have back and forward buttons and stuff? Can't you? I feel like there's so much more they could have done here that they didn't do with it. But yeah, that's weird. It like partly works. That's funny. I think it's just the icons don't load. I don't know. Huh. Anyways, it'd be cool to have a browser. So I might have like my fake version of Chrome in my OS or something, and I'll do some tricks like a cores proxy, and I'll try to do this sandbox mode in iframe, and there's got to be some way to make it work. Image viewer, that's another cool one. That would be a cool one for my idea of having a blog too, because I want to have my blog almost be like text documents with image, possibly with an images folder, or possibly like full-on Word type documents or PDFs. I don't know. I want it to be like documents anyway, so I need images. I want to have my travel photos and stuff on there in like a folder, and you can just open them and kind of look at them as if the folder's on your desktop, basically. Same idea for the video viewer. Should be really easy to do, both of them. I mean, showing video and images is already something you can do on a website. So I'm just talking about making a box for it and throwing a URL at it, basically. Calendar. Oops, again, double clicking. I don't want to do that. Calendar was a request I got from someone, from a viewer, like a couple streams ago, I think. He was like, hey, you should do a calendar. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's a cool idea. I was even thinking like I could put things that are personal to me, because it's my website, on this calendar. And I could also link like different GCal calendars that I look at, like for TV schedules and movies and stuff. And you guys can essentially see some of the calendar that's interesting to me, you know? I'm not going to put personal stuff on there, too personal, but I'll put my birthday and stuff on there maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Calculator. I wasn't going to do a calculator, but then I saw this Uno calculator, and it's like a WebAssembly version of the Windows 10 calculator. Like somebody literally took, I think it was, I don't know if it was a Microsoft, like open source the calculator, and someone took that and turned it into a WASM file that you can run in JavaScript in like a browser. So basically, if I can get this working, it's legitimately the Windows 10 calculator, like, and the source code itself. So like that's even like one more level of meta. So like, it's just mind blowing if I could get that, you know? I mean, as minor as it is, the calculator, it's just cool that like you're opening the calculator and you'll be on my website and you'll be like, wow, he really emulated the Windows 10 calculator. Well, it's like, that is the Windows 10 calculator, dude. And I'd love to do that for more apps if I could, but that might be another episode, like years in the future when I'm more advanced. I'd like to get into like taking source code of other apps and turning it into these WASM files or ECMAScript or whatever they're doing, you know, all these ways to make it run in the browser. It's like, what's the process to do that? It's interesting, but it's kind of beyond me right now, and I'm just not interested in it too much. And then the blog, like I said, I guess it's an app. I'm not sure if it'll be an app or if it'll just be a thing, like I say, like files, but this is an idea on its own, so I just wanted to make sure it was captured. And as far as bugs, I still haven't fixed NPM Update. I wrote that as a note for next stream to deal with it, but I've decided this stream to just write it as a bug. So NPM Update just doesn't work the way that I expect it. It used to. It doesn't now. I don't know if it's my NPM or Node versions. I don't know if I broke the lock file. I don't know if my expectations should just adjust to some delusion that I had, but I have videos where it used to work a different way than it does, so I don't know. And what else? Corner drag handles are too near inside. Yeah, this is just something I noticed recently. I've already in the last stream, I think I did the drag handles I've done, even though I hadn't styled it last stream. Well, recently I styled it and I didn't like where the handles were, but I'm not going to fix it this stream, so I've just written it as a note. So there you go. So basically I've captured a ton of stuff there, and we just talked about it for like 20 minutes. So that's the plan for the future streams. And how long do I think this will take? I mean, some of these are unknowns, but if, let's say the bulk of this, let's say 85% of this list, maybe another 8 streams, 10 streams, I don't know. Could be more. Let's say 12. But how many is that? 12 streams? That's like 3 months or something. I mean, if I can keep going, you know, hey, why not? Let's see how it goes. So I've just made this update to the README. I'm going to commit this as our first commit. So added agenda to README. Capital letters, README. And let's do our first commit. There we go. Done. So that was a big one. That took up a lot of time. So now let's get into these updates, and let's you'll see right away that it's still not working the way I wanted to. So I'm doing an NPM outdated to see what's updated here. We got a new version of Next.js. Okay, it's from 8 to 9. That looks minor enough. Some ESLint stuff. Okay, cool. That looks good. So let's do NPM update. We'll see that it does not work the way I expect it to. Actually, I want to try one thing that I read because I've been trying to figure out what's up here. But let's try NPM update first. So my expectation would be that it updates the package.json file, but it's only updating the lock file. And My node modules folder is completely fresh. My lock file has been updated. So let's see here. Yeah, it just changed the lock file, but it's like, no. So what about Next.js? It says like you just updated Next.js, but you haven't logged it here. So here's what I wanted to try. I wanted to try npm update -- save. Now I don't think you should need this. I didn't think you would, but could this make the difference? I don't know. That'd be interesting, hey? Also, save dev is another option to try to see if it can do dev dependencies. But for me, it just doesn't update the package file at all anymore. It's frustrating. Nope, still didn't. Yeah, and if I do dev, probably won't be any different. So the solution that I'm going to do, like I did last stream, and like I'm going to do for the foreseeable future until I figure this out, is to just do NCU, which is like another package that you can use to update your package file. But it's frustrating that it doesn't work because darn it, it used to. And one other thing I'm thinking of trying is completely nuking my package file and just like doing a new npm init fresh and just see if like, okay, I've got one dependency, does it work, you know? Because it should. So I haven't played with that yet though, but that's a good question. I should. I haven't given it so much thought, you know, so I'm not so disappointed that I haven't figured it out yet. Anyways, let's run ncu-u and just get the update. But I'm going to make sure that Three.js does not get updated because Three.js unfortunately has to stay locked where it is right now. So there we go. Put that back to the way it was, and then I'll run npm I as they suggest. There we go. And now we should have the updates. Yes. So now we got our updates. I don't know what happened in Next.js from 10.08 to 10.09, but I'm not super interested in looking. Actually, let's take a peek. Let's take a quick peek because sometimes it can be interesting. Next.js, I click GitHub. I click releases 5 days ago. Okay. Oh, actually, let me just click straight to the right release because this is it here. Core changes. Upgrade Webpack. Nothing mind-blowing there. I don't see any emojis, so it couldn't be that big a deal. Yeah, so let's just ignore that. Like not even worry about it. Let's just say npm updates. There we go, done. Let's move on. So the next little bug I noticed, yeah, so if you see here my cursor in the app right now, if I go to drag this icon, you see that little weird logo I'm getting there of like the little stop sign? And you guys, I don't see it in the stream, but I have like a silhouette of the image. And that's because I looked it up to figure out, I fixed this last time, so it wasn't a complete mystery to me. But there's this thing called Draggable that you can put on elements. And let's read about it here. The draggable global attribute is an enumerated attribute that indicates whether the element can be dragged, either with native browser behavior or the HTML drag and drop API. So I think the stop symbol was like saying there's no action for this drag, but it was okay. It was possible to drag it, is my interpretation of that. And essentially the solution is this draggable equals false on images. So that's what we need to do to fix that. Now on that note, throughout the week, I actually had done something differently. What I did here is I turned this, instead of doing draggable false, oops, sorry guys, I'm not in the code here. So I just searched for image. I have 3 images that I need to fix because all of these images are a problem for that. It's just on images. It's on a few other elements that draggable could matter, but I'm focusing on the image right now. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another common element, like how I have the button. I'm going to make something called image, and it's going to essentially just take the same exact inputs for now, source and alt, and it's going to give the same result, but I'm going to add the draggable piece to it. And maybe in the future, this will we'll have more things, you know? So I go into comment, and I'm just going to copy button, because button's already pretty close, but I'm going to call it image. And so I like part of it here. Call it image, and it's going to be an image, not a button, and the attribute that I care about is draggable, and it's going to be false, which I think we can do a boolean for. Looks like it. And as far as attributes, default attributes, I don't need any right now. Actually, let's take a peek at the global style just to make sure. Yeah, so I don't have any global image rules, so I'm not going to worry about throwing them in here. So there's our styled image with no styles, but it has the attribute of being draggable false, so that's the custom element. So yeah, I'm just gonna basically just replace it that simple, and I have to import it in. Oh, it doesn't know. Oh, I can just copy button here, nice, and switch this to image. There we go. That was simple. Well, what's it angry about here? Why am I seeing this? What? Oh, there we go. VS Code. VS Code like acts totally different when I'm doing streams versus when I'm just by myself. Works a lot better when people aren't watching. Okay, so let's just do it simple as this. Switch that to say image and try to do import again. Once again, it failed. Where did I have it? Here. I'm just going to keep copying the import as well because it's easier. There we go. Fix that one. And fix this one. Image. And I'll just assume that it's not going to import that. There we go. So we've saved these three. I have the environment running, so it'll refresh. So now if we go up top here and you see my mouse there, and if I try to drag, you see nothing happens. You see I don't get that little X. So now when I add my own custom drag abilities to the icon using a different library, then I'm not going to have to worry about the image possibly trying to drag, because I don't want that behavior. So I'm just basically disabling it this way. So there we go. That was simple enough. And now we have this common image element that we could do other stuff to in the future if we want. Fix images being draggable. Yes, that's basically what I did. So next one out, I wanted to do some extracting of logic to try to have as many custom hooks as possible. So if I go into my, where is it here? Is it in hooks? I think so, yeah. I'm looking for the time. Use sync clock, is that it? No. Let me close this. Let's just look for the clock here. Update clock, because I wanted to move that. Oh yeah, it's right in the clock, yeah. So this is exactly a good example. So this component, rather than having a component that's directly using a use state, I'm going to try to move those out into custom hooks and just have the components focus on like all this custom lingo that I've made basically. So I'm going to make a simple one called use clock. Oh man, my keyboard's doing like double clicks sometimes now. I see it with K, with P. I don't know if it's the keys or if it's something else. So use clock, okay. And what do we want use clock to return? Well, we need now. We need the now piece, I think. Let's just start the function first to see. So I wanted to extract this out. And what else do I want to extract out? The update clock piece is essentially relevant to the set now only. So let's try to take this piece out too. There we go. So now when you do use clock, it sets up a synced clock and it keeps track of the current now and it builds the update function. I like it. And then it returns now. And now is a date. There we go. So I think that looks pretty decent. It's pretty simple. So now all I have to do here is do like that. There we go. So that's a lot more simple for the clock. It's like use clock, get now, and then take now with another hook, get these things that involves the theme and the locale and stuff. And then do your stuff with it, right? So let's make our custom hook file use clock.ts. Take it out of here, put it in there, export it. And now we can use state and use callback and use sync clock and move all three of those imports here. So again, kind of cleaning it up. And you see how simple the clock is now. The clock is like crazy simple now. We need to do one more import though. Oh, nice. That one I found right away. So you see how simple the clock is now. And you see how simple this piece of logic is. So this piece just sets up a synchronized clock that I've made, which just goes to another hook. So it's like hooks inside hooks. But I think that's cleaner to me. And as you can see, the clock is still functioning. So we're good there. So let's do that. Extract clock logic into custom hook. And I'm going to throw you guys onto a please stand by for half a second, which I've just made this little screen in OBS because I need to blow my nose so I can speak a bit more clear. So 1 second, guys. And we're back. See? That was more like 7 seconds. I need a little bit of music, like some kind of... I wanted to have a fun one, like the dog pulling the power cord out, but I didn't have time, so I just made that for now. Anyways, we're done that one. So extract title bar buttons into custom hook. That's the next one I wanted to do. Again, talking about these extraction of hooks. So where's the title bar? If you remember last episode in the window, I made the title bar. And I was thinking, yeah, these 3 pieces, again, this is the React generic hooks. Let's make this something custom. So what did I decide that this would be called? Window actions. I like that idea because this is things relevant to windows. You minimize windows, you maximize them, you close them. So let's do the same thing and turn this into a function. Into a hook, sorry. Use window actions. Everything's going okay with the stream, just double checking. So we don't need to pass anything, I think. Oh, we need to pass the ID probably, right? I'm thinking we need to pass the ID. With the clock, we didn't need to because we were keeping track of the time ourselves. But here we need to know the ID. And we can take these 3 pieces here. And what else? Some of this, I think. Let's see. If we don't need any of this, what is it? Yeah, we didn't need some of that. So let's take this piece and just use that. Was it? Yeah, we don't need the other aspect. And we can remove them from here, kind of clean that up. And then this can just be focused on getting those 3 functions. Close, maximize, and minimize. And it'll be for that use Windows actions, assuming you pass in the ID. So now it's just like, hey, I want to do the window actions. Here's the ID. And it's like, okay, here's now when you do close, maximize, or minimize, it's going to do the rest for you. And then here's our hook there. We need to return that. On close, on maximize. Question mark myself. Is this what I wrote in the other one? I'm trying to remember. I think it is. Yeah. This is exactly what I wrote. Cool. So if we save that, nice, and it kind of refactored it into a kind of a clean way as well. So it's totally happy with that. So let's do the same thing. We'll move this into a file, and it's hooks. And I really like making hooks. They're fun. You know, it's just taking out these little chunks of logic in such a nice little way that I'm just... Nothing but good things to say about hooks, man. So we're extracting out another hook here. And I'm going to have to define this return type here. Export default as this. Also processes. Oh no, I need this in both places. So I'll just copy that. Copy that, Roger. There we go. So what's this complaining about? Oh yeah, I need to import it, of course. There we go. So we got that. So this piece is logically fine. And you see how it's been more clean, and now it's more about like you're using processes and you're using Windows actions, you know, not about, oh, a callback or a state. It's like, dude, don't even worry about that. That's the hooks problem, you know? So on to the fact of that, we need to define a new type here that is that type. Let's call it the Windows actions. And it's returning these 3 things. And what are these 3 things? What the heck are these things? Well, that's a good question, honestly. I think that let's hover over here and see what the button thinks they are. Right, we want these to be mouse event handlers. Yes, that's fair. Is that fair? Yeah, I think so. That's what they're used for. They should be within click events, I guess. Maybe this type will change at some point. I don't know. But for now, this makes sense. This allows me to put it right in its place. Like if I weren't to say that, then maybe I would need to do something like that, you know? But then you're redefining this function too. You're making a new function every time. So I don't want that. So maybe we should call them click actions, window click actions, because they come from React mouse event handlers. Ugh, it's too confusing to think about that. Let's just leave it like that. So that's what they all are. And then we're going to use them here, like so. That looks good, I think. What if I press save? Yeah, there we go. That stopped the complaining. So cool. So there's our mouse actions. That's been simplified, right? So let's also write that one out. Extract title bar buttons into custom hook. And you guys know what we've done there. Didn't do too much. Cool. what's this? Account for taskbar height when maximized. Ah, yes, this is another tricky one. So if you guys remember in my hooks for resizable, I got here that if it's maximized, the height should be 100%, but it actually should be 100% minus the taskbar. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to use calc, because we don't know what 100% is before the person has loaded the browser. So if we tell CSS that we want it to calculate that, then it'll figure out what 100% is, and you can subtract a specific amount of pixels. So that's what we'll do. So I'm going to do calc. I'm going to switch this to a template literal, actually. Calc 100% minus a variable. There we go. So 100% minus blah, blah, blah. Do I need to do pixels? I guess not. This could work perfect because it's already in pixels. So I just need access to the theme. Const whatever equals use. Is it use theme? I think it is. I think it's as simple as that, man. There we go. And now what did I need? I needed sizes. Yeah. Sizes. Should we just do sizes? Yeah, let's just do sizes, and then I'll just extract it here. Dot, what is it? Dot taskbar dot height. There we go. And this is already in pixels if we check our theme, I believe. Styles, default theme, taskbar height. Yeah, so it's like 30 pixels. So I think that'll give us the result we want. 100% minus 30 pixels. I like it. Let's assume that worked and not test it until we have styling. Because we're going to have styling very soon, and then we'll kind of see all these little issues. But logically, I think that is at least a good starting point. So if in the theme this changed, then it would also change there, which I really like. That's where styled components are nice. So let's close this, close that. Account for taskbar height when maximized. Yes. There we go. Update position when updating size. Oh yeah, this was an issue I noticed in the last one. When I was resizing it, it would like jerk back to its old position. And I noticed that in the React R&D example, it actually sets position at the same time that it sets size. So that's just something we have to copy, basically. So if we go into resizable here, there's a few other parameters. If you click here, you see we got delta and we got position. Now we don't need delta, but we need to define it so that we can access position here. And if we see position, what is position? Let's just do position first here. Let's turn this into a function because we need to do two things now. We need to do set size and we need to do set position. Oh, right. This is where it gets into refactoring a bunch of stuff. This is where I had actually changed to a different hook called use R&D. Instead of having a resizable and a draggable. Now I remember that I did this, yeah. I think we can still maintain this mostly the same. Oh, it's a huge refactor actually to make this work, because we don't have access to position from here. Yeah, we got to refactor it. I'm going to have to put the height and width and position in one hook for now. This is something I'm still kind of working on, the refactoring for this. So let's open up the draggable one too, because we're going to need both of them then. Luckily, they both pass in maximized, so it's cool that there's some efficiency there. Let's try to be really simple with this. Let's say resizable and draggable it returns, and draggable. There we go. Actually, let's just call that a type. Type R&D hook, R&D props. Ugh. Let's just call it R&D, but it's confusing because I think there's another type called R&D. Maybe we won't call it that. Let's just use the full word, resizable and draggable. That's a long one. So we'll go use resizable and draggable. It works for now until I think of something better. And what did I say it was going to be? Ah, yes, it's going to be very simply resizable and draggable. There we go. Oops. Yeah, so this hook is going to get a little bigger because I'm going to have to move this stuff in here as well. And I'll move this in here. I'm just going to consolidate this for now, and then we'll consider tweaking it in a bit. And I think I already had those, yeah. I'll need the default position here, like so. Move this type up here a bit. There we go, that's nice. Yeah, maybe I should say draggable and resizable. That's alphabetically more correct. Draggable and resizable. Use draggable and resizable. It returns draggable and resizable. There we go, there's our function. Oh man, that's a mouthful of a function name. I think this file's getting a bit big too. Well, it's less than 80 characters, so that's good. So what do we, oh, that's a cool blur effect they got on the, when you have an error. I like that blur effect actually. So we need to copy this other piece of the function too. We'll just take this piece, put it here, I guess. Yeah, that's a good place as any. And then this piece as well. There we go. And this piece will actually go right here, I guess, for now. So this is a huge chunk of hook right now. But at least, let me just do that. That's easier. There we go, rejigger that kind of. And I need to export that, like so. And here we go, now we can get to this position again. So back to position. So I'm not sure what position's got inside, X and Y. Oh, surprise, surprise. So let's say X, and we'll call it the position X. Oh wait, what, didn't I do this already once? Yeah, I have it like this, element X. Oh, I don't like that, because it's not two elements. We're gonna rename this to be position X, position Y in both scenarios. So there we go, that's how we represent X, Y there, and we're gonna do the exact same thing here. There we go. And yeah, same story here. I'm gonna use literally the same command. So there we go. So now when you update size, it's going to update the size and the position. And when you update position, we only have to update the position. But when you resize it, essentially the top and left representative spots kind of move in most scenarios. So I think that was the main issue that I had. So this hook's a little big, but it's still only 69 characters. It's not so bad. I'm gonna, oh, what's happened here? Resort that. There we go. So let me rename this and see if this works. Close this, we don't need that. Save that, and I'm gonna rename it to be like that. I'm gonna delete draggable, and we're gonna go to where I use it, which is in the window, I believe. Yeah. So this is going to be just called draggable and resizable, and it's gonna get all of this stuff for now. There we go. Okay, cool. So if I open the window and I do a little drag in here, so let me do a test here. I resize. There we go. It didn't like beep or anything. So I've essentially fixed it. We haven't fixed the styling yet, so it still looks a bit wonky. But yeah, so down the road, I'm not sure if I like this hook where it's like dumping all this stuff, but it's easier to have access to all these things. So I got the height, the width, the X, the Y, the max, and the min here, because later I want to deal with sessions. So I need those to be there. And just like with same here, I need access to update the position, even though I'm doing the size. So I need to rethink how to share these in a way where it's not a bunch of lines, because currently it is, even though it's not an excessive amount of code, I don't think, but it could be less. So we'll get to that in a later day. I think one thing I noticed that was cool was that size and position can be taken from within React R&D. Like they have those types. Let me try that. Let me comment out this position and see if I can import it in. Yeah, see, add position to existing import. Okay, so maybe I can just use that for position. That makes it a little tinier. Now for size, it's a bit trickier. I think size has something. Yeah, see, it's saying it doesn't, but I believe in the props, it does. In the React R&D has props. If we go here, if I inspect size, yeah, you see size exists right here, but it's not exported. So they've declared it, and here's something I wanted to try. I don't think it's gonna work. You see, they use it here, so I wanted to see what I can do, and they export props. So I wanted to try something. Let me try this. So LMNOPQR. So I want to export props, and then I want to make my own type called size, and I want it to be pick. From props, I want to pick size. Now, did that work? I don't think it worked the way I wanted it to. No, I think it gave me an object with the words with size in it. Yeah, see, I don't know enough about types yet. I learned about this pick. So I've managed to pick the right type, but I can't get it out of that object now. Now it's in an object. I don't want that. I wanted this to show like height, width. All right. So we don't have that piece yet. It'd be cool if we did. Yeah, this is wrong. I wonder if you guys know any other one. Pick is an interesting one. Maybe we do a quick peek. Let's say TypeScript pick not as object. Utility types. Okay, partial. I don't want a partial. Required. That doesn't sound right. Read only. No. Record. That doesn't sound like it either. Here's pick. Construct a type by picking the set of properties. Yeah, but how do I extract it? Omit. Nope. Exclude. Oh, extract. Constructs a type by extracting. Oh my god. So I literally just should have guessed. I could have guessed it. So what if I try extract here? Never. What? Okay, let me actually read the documentation too. There's an idea. Extract. No. So I don't think extract is what I thought it was, unfortunately. Constructs a type by extracting from type all union members that are assignable to union. Boy, that is written in gibberish ease for me. So I don't know what to do with that. Parameters, could that be it? No. I'm just scrolling here and I don't see it. Like I'd expect a string or something so I can specify what key I want. I'm not seeing anything here with strings or keys. Pick was the only one. Keys, some of them say keys, very few though. Omit head keys, record head keys. What's record again? Construct an object type whose property keys are keys. What? No. So yeah, I don't know if there is a way. It'd be cool if there was. I don't know if any of you guys know. If you have a type definition file where someone didn't export something, but you want to make a type from somewhere else, like sneak in through the back door kind of thing. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure it out. So we're not going to worry about that little piece, I guess. Or maybe this could be done a different way. What is it? What is the result here? Nah, it just doesn't work. I guess if I had like size and position as words, like that could be size, I guess. And then I just export out size here and then I extract it there. No, because I want to do stuff to height and width. Same with X and Y. All right. So let's just not worry about this piece right now. At least we got rid of position. That was something. We'll play with the other thing another day. It's a cool idea to play with. So there we go. So that piece is refactored. So what did we do here? We did a lot for what I wanted to accomplish. I just wanted to fix that little glitch, but I had to merge those two hooks together basically to do it, which as you can see here, they're merged together now. And this is kind of just slapping them together and then adding the set of position, which I extracted here. Okay, so let's save that. Update position when updating size. Yeah, that's what I did. It required a lot of work though. What's the next one? Specify resizeHandleStyles. Yeah, this is just a minor one. This is something I noticed a few times where when I just start defining an object, it's like, if I want TypeScript to know what some of these are, sometimes it's not obvious, like string, number, okay. But this is like another object. Did I just make this up? No, I did not. it comes from HandleStyles. There we go. So now that basically gives me type checking, I think. Like if I do bottoms, does that actually complain? I don't know. Unfortunately not. What if I do bottom XX? Let me do an ESLint there. Let me do npm run build and see if it complains. Because that's not correct. But it could be that HandleStyles is so loose that it just allows that kind of thing. Let me see another way I could break it. What's HandleStyles got? Yeah, it's just a bunch of optionals. Huh. Okay, well, let's say that I define bottom, but I define it as a string, because it's not supposed to be a string. No. So this doesn't get me very much from a value point of view, but I think it's good to have. At least it's like very clear. So when you hover over this, you're like, oh, okay, that's how he knew to define all those like that. So anyways, but yeah, that didn't get us too much. A little more explicit, I guess. I'm just going to copy this exact description there. Specify bounds of window. Yeah, that's another little one I wanted to do. If we go into React R&D here, I'll just jump over to the browser again. And in React R&D, there's a field called bounds. Specify movement boundaries. Yeah, so this is another thing that if you, let's say you're dragging the window and you go up outside the browser, you basically lose that window. Because I don't have a way to like make it come back down where you can get the drag handle again, and then you're never going to be able to click that area up there. So basically I just want to set a bounds, and we can just add that to our already little defaults that we're slipping in. Here, the R&D defaults that we use. You remember we were just editing these a second ago. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add bounds right here. Bounds. And what are we going to bound it to? If you look at the description for what bound accepts here, it can accept things like parent, body, elements, basically. It's a selector. So the element that I care to use is the main element, because I've made a main element, a semantic main element that's the main desktop. So there we go. So just like that, now the windows, when we drag them, are going to stay within the window. See? If you see, I can't go above that. Can't go to the left, can't go to the right. Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay. So you see how it stops there? That's because that little empty space is actually window. It's just that I don't have the coloring right. That's, again, we're going to style it. We're going to style it, guys. All right. So specify bounds of window. Done. Boom. Cool. And we're at 1 hour and we're done the refactors and such. And I'm going to push these 9 commits that we've done so far. And we're going to move on to styling, which is the big one. It's the big one, guys. So I'm just going to, actually, we're going to do this together here, because today is one of the few days where I did not really prepare my commit messages, my commits from my work in the week. So I'm going to have to look through all these gobbledygook changes I did and see which ones are style related. Probably this one. I probably have to mess with some rules. Also, another thing to note here with the styles is we're just going to style it today. I'm not going to mess with making the theme perfect today and getting every variable right. Because I might not even keep some of this styling. I don't know. Nothing's set in stone yet, so the theme's fluctuating all the time. What else did we do? So we already did this. We already did the button. Yeah, we already did that. We already did this. I have a lot of notes of a lot of the stuff we already did here, guys, just so you know. See, I called it use R&D, but now we're calling it use draggable and resizable. I like that better. This was me messing with trying to get the session working. I did not get the session working, so we're not going to discuss it too much today. Here we go. So what did I want to start with for styling? Let me see. So first I was saying the desktop icons in the file manager. So if we reload the page here up above, we get a 404. Why is that? Let us rerun dev. Make sure we haven't killed the thing. I refresh here, and now it'll work. Just the way it is. There we go, it's back. So, desktop icon. So you see the icon here. If you guys are on Windows 10, you'll know that the Windows 10 icons, like a little box. Unfortunately, I don't have virtual machine set up today. I probably should have to show you guys how it looks, but we're going to do that a different day when we talk about perfecting the look. For now, I'm just going to get close. So I'm going to go through the styles, and we're going to go through the grid styling too. So let's start there. because we have this file manager, and inside it we have a file entry, which is the hello world icon that you're seeing. Where is it here? Files. So there's the file entry, there's the file manager. So you see we got nothing right now. So the file manager is an organized list, and the file entry is a list item. So let's just start writing code. So what are the things I decided on? So I decided I wanted to do grid. I want to use grid. Flexbox is another option, but I found a really cool, nice setup for grid, and I want to show you guys it. So another cool thing too with Chrome is that you can visualize the grid as well. And how can I best show you guys that without messing with stuff? I don't want to resize my windows, but I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here. So we want to do a display grid. Now, first setting I want to do is grid auto columns. Let's look up what that is, because I don't even remember some of these. Grid auto flow, sorry. So what is the purpose of grid auto flow? Actually, let's double check that this is what I want to do first. What do I got in the code here? So first, let's just save these one at a time. So display grid, save, what did that do? Practically nothing. Let's inspect the element now. Hover over to OL. So now I have a little button that I can do a grid view. So I click grid. So you guys can see now that little pink box, right? So that essentially represents the grid. So we've got a bit of the grid. And now we want to define it. Let's define our columns and our rows for the grid. And I'm going to show you guys. So we have two settings for that. We have grid template columns and, surprise, surprise, grid template rows. Now, this took a lot of fine tuning and reading to kind of understand how I wanted it, because I really, I mean, long story short, what's the width here? So the width I've already decided on for the, what is it? Column is that way and row is that, I think. I always forget which is column and which is row. Column, row. I'm going to Google it here because I literally don't remember. Right, so the row is like that and the column is like that. So the column is going to define the width, because I'm going to say the column, yeah, the columns are width and the rows are going to be the height. So a cool thing you can do, and let's look into it here. Let's just take a quick peek in the browser and look at the definition for grid template columns. So you can see some examples here when you kind of click through it. Oh, no, there you go. Now you can see the examples. You can see the kind of way it's adjusting. So you see here when I first saw this, I was like, oh, am I going to have to be like 45 pixels, let's say 74 pixels for the width of an icon container? Am I going to have to copy that and do some kind of JavaScript logic? I don't know. And I started looking and it's like, oh man, there's so many ways to do it. So it's like, oh, okay, repeat. Well, that sounds interesting. So does fit content, honestly. A lot of these sound interesting. But repeat is the one that kind of got me interested. And if we go to what repeat does, repeat represents a repeated fragment of the track list, allowing a large number of columns that exhibit a recurring pattern to be written in a more compact form. That sounds great. And if you look at some of the stuff repeat can take, autofill. Oh, okay, that sounds great. So yeah, let's go back into the code. And that's what we're going to write, basically. We're going to do, let me just tweak my windows here so I can see what I'm writing. Repeat, oops, and we're going to say we want to autofill of 74 pixels. That sounds simple enough. So what does that get us? If I save that and we look at our grid, already that's cool. So you see we got boom, boom, boom. We got 4 icons. And you see there's a little space at the end. So it properly does the grids. And if you resize it, you'll get 3 icons, you know, and so forth. So let's also do the exact same code, but 70 for the other direction, because that's the height that I want. And what's it complaining about here? What? Oh, it's rows cap with a plural, sorry. So if I save that, okay, cool. So you see there, it didn't do too much visually. You saw maybe like 1 line move down. That's because there's only 1 entry. So what I'm going to do just in my dev tools, I'm just going to copy the LI and I'm just going to paste another one. So you see there we got a second icon. So that's cool. But as you know with Windows, the icons go top to bottom. So that's where the grid auto flow comes in. And basically we just want to say with grid auto flow, I want it to flow column down. So if I save that, you see it did absolutely nothing. Ta-da! Let me refresh the page and see if that makes a difference. Oh, I know the problem. So first, let me undo that then. Let me just comment it out actually for a second. Oh, and I refreshed, I lost my little grid view. So there's my grid view back. Oh, now it's yellow for some reason instead of pink, whatever. So the issue, the reason why I didn't do what I expected is because I need to set the height now. Because I need, so let's just do the height first and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So if I set the height, oh, the height should actually be alphabetically after it here. And we're gonna say, we're gonna have to do a calc again because we have to account for the taskbar again. We're gonna say 100% minus, now here's where we would just use the theme setting. And we're going to actually. Let me just copy it from somewhere else though, because I'm lazy. Let's copy it from here. There we go. That's the words I want. So we'll just paste it in. Actually, can I just do it like this? I don't think so. No, let's do it like this. And it's going to be, what was it? Themes. Oops, darn it. Themes sizes dot taskbar dot height, right? So it's going to be exactly the same template literal. In fact, I'm just going to copy it. Where is it here? It's right here. I'm going to copy the one I just used because it's perfect, I think. I'll have to add the word themes to it, I guess. There we go. And add the word theme. There, so it's the same idea. What did I just do? Oh, okay, yeah. I need to paste this here, though. I was just working on it there. There we go, there's our height. So now if I save that, we should see the height on here. There we go. Cool, and that's our rows as well. Nice, so that actually worked the way we want it. Now we're getting the icon layout we want. Now if I take that li and I copy it, so you see it still went to the right. So now if we do that auto flow to get it to go column down instead of row, and I save it, there we go. So now it's positioned the way I want. Nice, hey? So now the next little detail that I noticed with Windows is that there's actually a little column gap in between the columns, just 1 pixel gap. 1 pixel, guys. So we're gonna add column gap. Very easy to add. You don't have to do margins or padding. You can just say on the columns, I wanna have a gap. And the cool thing about it is you see it just did it, like let's say I set 10. You see it just does it in those, let's just say I set something a little smaller than that, 2. Ah, darn it. Unfortunately, 1 is the only one that fits all 4 there, but let me do 0 to show you. So you see the lines in the middle there, how they're less thick, and then when I do 1, they're a little more thick, so they're 1 pixel thicker. But it only did it on the 3 lines. It doesn't do it on the last thing too in the end, like the tailing part. Whereas if you did padding right or margin right, you would have to deal with also the last child, and it's just a whole mess when you're talking about grids and stuff. So easier with this. And then on the row gap, the spacing there, we actually want bigger. I noticed that in Windows it was 28. So we're going to do 28 pixels here. So there you go. So you see how we got a lot more spacing there between the icons now. And also the icons themselves, it looks like I've added some padding here. Let's just throw padding in and see what it looks like. Ah, yes. That's not the icons, right? So this is on the OL. So yeah, there's actually 5 pixels of padding on the top. Within Windows that you'll notice that the icons, they are all the way to the left, but there is a little gap on the top. And if you have icons all the way down to the bottom of the taskbar, there's also a little gap at the bottom. So that's why here in my padding, I've said 5 pixels top and bottom. That also matches Windows. So that essentially is the icon part styled, or not the icons, but the grid. So if we turn off the little grid meter now, so you see that's pretty cool. Now our icons, that looks like 2 icons sitting there, right? I mean, not much has changed visually, but you can see now how the grid is set up correctly so that if I had 5 icons, let's do that actually. So if I have 1, I add another one, another one, another one, and now if I add 1 more, look at that, it goes where I wanted it to, into the 5th position. So you see there, I just got a list item of like 6 items, but they're perfectly where I want them to be. So I think this is a perfect use case for the CSS grid. And I'm going to save that actually as a commit right away. So setup, or let's say styled file manager grid. Yeah, I mean, this is where we're going to have to get into that's not the file manager necessarily. Or there has to be multiple versions of file manager then. Yeah, it's going to be tricky because this is focused on the desktop visuals with a grid and with the way that I'm going to do the icon. But I wanted the file manager to be more generic. So I'm eventually going to have to make the file manager be able to accept different styled components, maybe, to be like, in this case, I want you to put them in a table or something, you know? I don't know. Or it's going to be an OL, but it's going to be a different kind of OL style-wise. We'll see, because I don't want to make this too dynamic. I think I like the idea of different styled components, and I can kind of slot those in. So I need to think of the best way to do that. For now, styled file manager grid for desktop. Put that in quotes because that's important. Actually, no, I don't care. There we go. So that is one piece styled. Now let's focus on the list items themselves. And I have a lot of styling for that. So much so. So, where to begin? So if we check out the list items, let's open up a file entry. I need to open up the component. There's the file entry. So you see here, it's got a button and it's typical figure and fig caption and all that stuff. Now, without any styling at all, it actually doesn't look terrible. I'm surprised, to be honest. But I want to add some styling to it. So we're going to be very specific, and we're going to say within the button, I want to do some stuff. Well, what do we want to do? Well, let's mess with the fig caption, the text, because the text needs to be white at least. I don't know how to spell caption though, unfortunately, so I'm just going to copy paste because I spelled it wrong and I'm lazy. So like I said, the color needs to be white. The text is white. So let's just say FFF, F, save that. Oh, we only get the first one. Yeah, these other ones are fake. So let's refresh them. There we go. So let's just focus on this icon. That's the one that matters. So next thing is the font size. I noticed that it's a little too big by default. I think it's like 12. I've decided on 11.5 for this one. Now that's just fine tuning, but you'll see in the future. And if you guys at some point, maybe we'll do like a side-by-side with like a VM of Windows versus mine. But in my opinion, 11.5 for this font was pretty close. So this next one, this is tricky. I don't know how to show you this, how I got to this logic. I'm just going to dump this in here and I'm going to show you guys what I did. So text shadow, look at that code there. I'm not proud of that. If we look at this here, there's some way to make logic of this, but in a way there's not. I think it's like this. Yeah. So what do we got here? It's like I'm setting different widths. I'm kind of moving down. I'm like saying for here, I want you to do 1 pixel of coloring of width at 75% opacity. And then the next one, I want you to do 2 pixel width at 50% opacity, you know? And I kind of did that in different thicknesses. So here I don't change the position at all. And then I move the position by 1, and then I move the position by 2. Now, why did I do it this many times? Because to me, it made a difference. Like just doing this once and being like, oh, there's no point in doing the shadow twice, you know? It actually does make it darker, I think. So there is some kind of layering effect. But I'm not sure from an efficiency point of view of having 9 different shadow effects, what that does. But if you see here, let's save it and let's see what it looks like. So we save that. So it doesn't look ideal. Let me zoom in here. So you see there, if we zoom in, that looks not bad, right? That's some cool shadowing. So basically this is another one of those things where I'm just going to defend it with fine tuning. Like this looked right to me, you know? And I think we're going to keep it like that. This is actually 100% right there. That's 100%, but you see on the screen, it looks quite tiny. So I'm zooming into 150 for visual purposes for now. So yeah, there's our shadow. Next, yeah, so there's our text basically. We got white text with a shadow. That's essentially how Windows does it, at least on my Windows, which is all I care about. Now we got our fake caption, that's the text. The next thing we wanted to do is the image, because the size is wrong. The icon should be 48 pixels by 48 pixels, maximum. So I'll save that. We'll get a little, oh, maybe it already was 48. I think the icon itself happens to be 48 by 48. So in this case, it didn't matter, but it would have in some scenarios. What's the next thing? So I wanted a little bit of padding too. So let me throw some padding. I wanted the padding right on the LI. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, okay. So it kind of moved it a little bit. Let me try to hover over that to see where that padding shows itself. Oh yeah, there's the little green right there. I think that I did that because I think that... Why did I do that? I'm trying to remember why I did that. Oh, why did I do that? I think that I did that for the border because the hover border has a 2-pixel border. And I think I've decided that that padding is there so that when the border appears, it doesn't like constantly shift in and out or like resize the element. But let's not get there yet. Let's just do the border first. So I want to have a hover effect because that's a huge part of the icon. So that's like how the icon looks. It's done basically. That's how it looks when it's just sitting there on your desktop. I mean, my icon's not a good example because it's a boxy icon. Eventually I'll have a transparent one that'll look a little bit nicer. So we want a hover effect. Now, the basics thing we want is when you hover, we want the background color to change. Let's start there. So I save that. So you see when I hover, the background color is changing. It's not super bright, but it's subtle. It's subtle. I'm going to zoom in more so you guys can see. So you see there that the shading changes. That's the first little piece of the puzzle. Second piece is that border I was telling you guys about. So we got a 2-pixel border. So let's save that. And now watch. If I hover, you see how there's that jumping motion? That's why I added the padding, I think. So if we add the padding in here, and now we hover, so you see it's still doing that jumping, but what I can do is I can remove the padding on hover. I think also I could do it a different way involving border box. Wait a minute, let me just see how the padding looks here. Without the padding, yeah, without the padding, it's too close to the side anyways. There needs to be a little bit of padding, and I might fine tune this more in the future, but I like having the padding anyways. I like it being a little bit out. And then we'll replace it with the border here. So like I say, no padding when you hover. And now you see it won't jump around. So you see, there we go. So now there's my cursor here. So when I hover, you see that there's a distinct border here. And then there's also the background and it doesn't jump around anymore. Now, I had like display flex and position relative, but I don't seem to need any of that right now. It seems by default it's already pretty decent. So I'm going to leave that. Now, another little piece that's tricky is that if you look in Windows, it's actually 2 different colored borders. And in CSS, you can't have 2 different colors on a border in one setting or anything like that. You can't do like, I can't do like 1 pixel and then do another 2-pixel one. I don't think. So the way I'm going to do it is this little trick that's part of CSS in which you can add pseudo elements. So I'm going to say, on hover, before the element, I want you to add another little element that's going to have no content inside it. It's going to be empty, but it will have a border, and this is going to be the inside border. I'm just going to copy the coloring. So you see here the coloring of this border is a little different than the coloring of this border, I think. Yeah, you see this one's 70%, that one's 50%, so they're slightly colored different. What other aspects? So let's just save that and see how that looks. I don't think that's going to work. Oh yeah, so it partially worked, but you see the border is this little thing on the left here, and it's also getting all jumpy and stuff again. So that's not ideal. So that's where we need to say that this before element is positioned absolutely over top of the original element. So we're going to say that it's position absolute, and we're going to see what that gets us. So if we hover now you see it's at the top left here. So that's another step in the right direction. But now you see that there's the 2-pixel border and then there's the item, the piece of the other border. That's not what I wanted either. So it needs to go one up of that. So how do we do that? We essentially just have a negative position. So top -1 pixel. Oh, why did I do negative? That's weird. So for all the positions, essentially we want it to be like that. Right is -1 pixel. It's left -1 pixel, and bottom, I think, is the other one. Yeah, bottom -1 pixel. So now if we save that, what's it looking like? Oh, it did that again. I save that. So now it's completely gone. So what happened there? I think the only piece missing now is now that this is absolute, it needs to be relative to the element itself. So I think now, if this is absolute, this should be relative, or it needs to be positioned anyway. So let's say relative now, and now when I hover over it, there we go. So now we have our 2 colors. It's a little hard to see here, but I have 2 different colored borders plus my background. So now you see when I hover over, it's very Cool effect there. And you see, now that I'm doing position relative, I seem to have lost... Oh, okay. It's just in general, I think, not centering. Or is that just because I did position relative? Let me remove position relative for a second. No, I just wasn't observing that before without the border. So it's funny, once you have a very clear defined border, then it's like, oh, this is clearly not centered. So I need to center the text and the icon. I think it might just be possible just to do display flex, and it might already kind of fix itself there. Let's just try that. No, why did I think that would be enough? That's weird. Huh. In my other code, I actually didn't put anything saying I positioned it. Maybe I had it wrong before. Let me refresh the page here and make sure it's still right. Yeah, okay. So the text is not positioned correctly. It needs to be centered. Let's not do display flex though first. Because it might already be display flex. Let's just, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna see if I can center it myself here. This is the li item. So if I do place content center, okay, so it already was flex. So place content center actually was exactly what I wanted. I'm not sure why I don't have that in my example code that I wrote, but let's just do that. So we don't need display flex. I think it's already by default being display flex, but we do need to say place the content in the center then. So I save that, refresh the page. Oh, okay, no, display flex was not on by default. Display flex we need back. So now there we go. So yeah, it's weird. I didn't have place content center in my last one. What happens if I do place items center as well? Items center. I don't think that's going to make any difference to anything. Oh, it did make the slightest bit of difference, actually. Okay, I prefer that because I like it to be as centered as possible. No. I think it's going over the border there. I see my icon is going over the border, I think. Yeah, okay, so I don't want to place item center. And as far as place content, that's a mixture of align content and justify content, but I probably only need one of them. Let's see which one. I think it's align content I probably need, but it might be justify. Okay, it's justify then. Justify. There we go. So we don't need place content. That's like a multiple one. Let's be very specific. So there we go. So that looks like a nice icon, I think. So you hover, we got multiple borders, we got our background. That's looking a lot more like a Windows icon, minus the dragging, which we don't have yet. Other than that, though, I think we captured everything plus some because I didn't have centering correctly for some reason before. In my thing, I also have some z-index stuff, but we're not going to mess with the z-index yet until it becomes a problem. I think it will soon. Actually, let's see. It probably will really soon. Let's zoom out here. And if I open a window, which I cannot do. Oh, okay. That's probably where I needed z-index then. Why did that happen? I think because I've done position relative, I think visually it's maybe behind the desktop now, but the desktop's transparent. I'm not sure. Anyways, let's adjust the z-index of the button. Yeah, let's just adjust the z-index of the button and not overthink it. So what happens if I do z-index of 1? Is that enough? Yep, that's enough. Okay, but you see how the icon is above the window now, so I think the window also needs a little z-index adjusting. Let's go into the window here and set its z-index to 2 then. That didn't do a darn thing. Why is that? Let's not mess with the styling of the window yet. Anyways, we needed z-index just to be able to touch the button. So now we've got a z-index. So you see here, if we comment out z-index, you see I'm not able to double click nothing. So if we put z-index back as 1, then I can double click. Okay, so that's a step in the right direction. I think there was another piece of this puzzle actually. If I refresh this, so you see here when I'm highlighting over, let me zoom in again. So I'm on the border right now, and if I double click, you see that's not opening the window right on the border, but if I move in a little bit, when does it work? There we go. Okay, so that's another issue in that the button is not 100% width. That's something I noticed. So I'm just going to go into my common components in the button, and I'm going to add 100% width. Because I like, for now, by default, I'm happy with every button trying to take up 100% of its container. That should be okay for me for now. So there we go. Let's zoom out. This is becoming a mess here. So let me refresh that. So now if I double click on this border, just inside of here, there we go. So yeah, the border, I'm okay with that not working, but just inside the border, it should work. Oh, you see now we can see our buttons here. So if I maximize, yeah, I don't know. Close, does that work? Maybe these buttons don't have Z index now. Maybe in general, the button should just have a Z index. I'll focus on that another day. That's not so important right now because I might be wrong with what I just said there. So there we go. There's 150%. So now the button works for the icon. So cool. We have our icon visually and the file. So that's we're calling it a file entry. So let's see what we did here. So we did everything to the file entry. Just described it there. And there we go. So let's just say added file entry styling, styled file entry, styled desktop icon file entry. There we go. And let's throw that one in the ether. Cool. So we're done that little piece of styling. Took about half an hour there. And now we're on to what I would consider the most important part, which is styling the window. So let's see where that is. Did I style the file manager? Yeah, I already did that. We'll have to do the taskbar as a piece of this, I think, a little bit, but we'll get into that in a second. I think I had button mentioned up here too. Didn't I? Yeah, here we go. We did button. We're going to do taskbar in a bit. Yeah, so here's the title bar. That's a piece of the puzzle, but I want to do the window first because that's probably the easiest. So let's move on to the window here and fix some of the really easy stuff. So if we go to window. So what are some of the things I had completely wrong? Oh, sorry guys, I might have been on the wrong window a second ago when I was just saying I'm clicking this, clicking that. I was looking through my old code changes and just kind of in GitHub, clicking this little arrow to minimize things that I've dealt with. So I had just finished the file manager styling, the file entry, and then I was moving on to this stuff, like I said. So the title bar we'll talk about in a second, but I wanted to move on to the window because there's only a few changes there that are important. So if we open the window here, if you remember, oh man, that button thing is wonky now. I'm going to disable that button change just temporarily, just so I can show you guys the other part of the window. But we'll get to the button just as soon. There we go. So that's how the window looked a second ago before the button went all big. So if we go back to the styled window, the first little piece of the puzzle that I was missing, if you guys remember, what's going on here? Why can't I drag nothing now? Let me refresh this. I've lost the ability to drag. Why? Huh. Oh, I think I know why. I think because that grid is taking up the entire window now, I can't click the window. But isn't that Z index thing I was just talking about? Huh. Maybe I remember where to do it. I remember now. So in the R&D defaults, so the R&D resize and drag React R&D, it makes its own container, and you have to control that container too, not just your styled window, because my styled window is inside R&D. So in the R&D defaults, you can also pass in styles that you want, your own custom styles. So I'm just going to do that. Styles, and I'm going to pass in the Z index. Can I just do it like that? I don't think so. I think it has to be like this. Of 1, sorry, not -1. Is this how you do that? I don't even remember. Is that how I did that? Yeah, it's exactly. Wait, is that how I did that? No, I'm not sure. I don't think I did do it that way. How did I do it? Oh, okay. No, I did it the React way. That's the better way to do it. So the React way is Z index like this. So the styles isn't a direct styles reference. It's like a React styles, I guess. Let's go to R&D quick so I can figure out exactly what that is. So if I go to my window component, here's R&D. So I'm going to say styles just so that I can figure out exactly what that is in TypeScript. If I hover over it, what was it saying there? Styles is specified more than once. Oh, okay. Let me get rid of it here. Geez, TypeScript's too smart. All right, styles. Huh. I was hoping it would tell me what this is. No, that's not correct. For these, no, wait, does it know for any of these? On drag stop. See, it knows this one's a drag event handler. Huh. Let me go and inspect this. Go to definition. Styles. Huh. Let's go to the React R&D documentation. I wanted to define what type this was, but now I can't even find the darn thing. Did I just make up that exists? Oh, maybe this has nothing to do with React actually, or with React R&D, sorry. Yeah. So, nothing to do with React R&D as far as the styles part. Basically, this is just another component, so I can style it just like I can style anything. So as far as what styles is, it's just the same thing that it is on any React thing. Which is what? I wonder if I was hoping TypeScript would help me out a little bit here. Style. Is it style typically or styles? Yeah, there we go. HTML attribute, CSS properties. That's the thing I was looking for. But now I'm questioning, was it style or styles? Oh, it's actually style. I don't know why I was pluralizing it in my head all the time. I think that was probably part of the confusion. So undo this. This was just me messing around. Leave that alone. So I'm going to put it in here as an R&D default because the R&D component I want to have styling, a specific styling of z-index. So this was good, but it should have been style. Should have been style, not styles. And let's be very specific and say this is CSS properties, and we'll import that type as well. There we go. Oops, get out of here. I need a comma. Okay. And I'll make that a type as well. Nice. I like the explicivity of that. So now, there we go. So as you see when I did that, let me undo that so you can see in case you didn't see. So undo. So you see the icon is in front of the window, and then when I fix that, the icon's behind the window. And now I can drag it. Nice. So you see here, if you remember my drag bounds, you see how I can't go any further to the right? Now, why is that? That is because this window actually was that big, and I just don't see it all because the styled window part was not 100% of the R&D component container. So if I say width 100%, there we go. So now we can see its true width. So now we can actually resize it too. Now, see, it's easier to resize that part on the right. Now you see here, I got the bottom part's not right either. So if there's the actual bottom piece right here. So let's do the same thing for height. Height 100%. And you see that reveals itself too. So that was actually the bottom of the window. And okay. Now, one other little piece that I wanted to do was a shadow because I noticed that Windows has a shadow. So I've kind of tried and I made this box shadow that's basically 20 pixels wide or no, sorry, it's positioned at 0 and 0 and it's 20 pixels, but as it gets bigger, it starts to fade out kind of. Like if you do 1 pixel box shadow, it's essentially just perfect pixel. But if you do 20, it's very faded. And I've also put it to only half opacity by using the RGB A, which A is alpha. So we'll save that. And now you see we have a little border, a box color shadow there. It's a little hard to see, but if you see here, let me turn it off. You see, and then I'll turn it on again here. So shadow, there you go. So you can see there's a little shadow there. And one other little piece is an outline. This is another little thing that some of the windows have. Not all of them in Windows have outlines, but enough of them do that I've decided to add it for now. I might have a flag to disable it at some point. So outline, and it's only 1 pixel. It's solid, and it's essentially black, and it's a little opaque, I think, or it might just be like very dark. I'm not sure, but I've decided to make mine opaque. So I'm going to save it, and you probably can't even see it. Maybe if we zoom in, we can see it. Oh, what did I do there? Maybe I hit the invisible maximize button there by mistake. So yeah, it's almost invisible there, but there's a little border there. I might make it a little more dark actually. What if I do 50%? Yeah, maybe that is better. I don't know. Or maybe it shouldn't even be opaque. Well, I'm going to keep playing with that. Let's put it to 25% and just leave it like that for now. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm way too zoomed in here. Okay, cool. So I think we've styled the window piece, not the title bar yet. But the window, it has its outline, it's got its shadow, it's fitting the whole width and height so we can resize it properly. So let's add that to the styled. So let's say styled window container. And let me undo this button change here, or let me just not stage that because I don't want that, but I just for visual purposes I decided not to add that for now. Okay, so let's just take these two changes and stage those. So we're just going to commit those two changes for that commit. So button is going to remain the same. I just don't want it to be massive until we've kind of reined it in, you know? So now let's get into the biggest of the changes, which is the title bar. And it's right here. And it's a completely blank slate as well, currently. And it's a header element. Nice and sensible, I feel like. Now, let's look at the title bar too. Let's open up the component so we can know what we're styling here. There's the title bar. So we got like an H1 for the header text with its typical figure and its image, its caption. And then for the buttons, we have a nav container with our button styles, which is a button, and our icon, which is an SVG, I believe. So yeah, let's just get right into styling it. So first things first, the title bar is black on dark mode. So I'm going to say it's a black background. There we go. So now it's completely black. And let's get into styling the header. So the text is white. Oops, that's not how you do white. There we go. So there's white. So it's pretty big words right now. That's a little bigger than we want. So we're going to set the font size again to the same, this 11.5, and we might make this the global default font size at some point, but for now, no, because I'm not sure I like it for all of them. So we're going to adjust that to the right font size. Now you see it's bold. That's because it's an H1, so we have to remove that bold, and we're just going to say font weight. I'm going to do normal. I was going to do 400, but I want to see what normal looks like. Yeah, normal. That's essentially what I wanted. So cool, that's good. Now we can set the header height here for the H1. So the title bar height, I believe, is 29 pixels. That's what I measured it as. So I'm going to say that it has to be 29 pixels here. There we go. Is that 29 pixels? That seems... Oh, okay. So it's not resizing properly because the image is still too big. So let's fix that image too then. So that is... It's in the H1. It's within the figure. And that's the image is within there. So like I said, we're gonna get rid of we're gonna change the height. It's good. So for the title bars, the height is similar to what's in the system tray. So 16 by 16, I believe. And this is just for me measuring those numbers. So there we go. So that shrunk quite a bit. Not everything's shrunk though. It still looks a bit tall to me. We'll figure that out in a second. Now you see the icon is right at the top left, right in the corner. Now I want some padding in all the places. Actually, I'll get to that in a second. I want to fix this height first. Why is it still so tall? Let's inspect the element here and see. So a lot of that black border is from the nav piece. Oh, okay. Oh, so you see if I hover over there, you see how that piece I'm hovering on now is the H1, and then that piece is the nav. So they need to be side by side. I need to make this container flex, basically. That's step one. So let's make this into flex and see how that does. There we go. That fixed that. So now you see the H1 is over there, and the nav is nowhere at the moment. I need to position the nav. So let me see. What's the next piece here? Where is the nav? So the nav is outside the H1. So let's put the nav here. And the nav buttons, we want to position, we want to at least, let's size these buttons up. So the button width for each button is 45 pixels, by the way. I've found that out as well for the minimize, maximize, and close buttons. So we'll just set those as 45 pixels. Now they don't have the correct color yet. What color do they need to have? So the buttons have the SVG image is used for the min, max, and close. And you guys saw I made those SVGs yesterday, or sorry, last stream, I believe. So we're gonna fill those with a color, same as color, but for SVGs, fill. So those are gonna also be white. So there you go. So now we got our close, minimize, and maximize, and not in that order. And now for the images themselves, if we go to the SVGs, we know how big I wanted them. Where are they here? Icons, yeah, icons. So you see here that they're 10 width each. 10, 10, 10. So let's set them to their natural width here. Width of 10 pixels. And the reason it didn't do this is because in the icons themselves, I've only set view box. So I've set how they should look under the right ratio and everything. And then here I just set the width here. So save that. Oh, that looks right, you know? That's a good start. Nice. So you see how we got that little piece already. Now there is some hover effects we need to deal with here within the button. Is it within the button? Yeah. So within the button, when you hover over it, I think we want the background color to change, typically. We want the background color to change. So I'm going to save that. And I've picked this color. This is kind of fine tuning, but it's going to have to change. So let's test it out. So if I hover over, so you see there we're getting, it's a little hard to see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So you see there, we get some hover effects, some coloring. That's kind of what I want. But as you can see, the box is all wrong and it's not in the right position. So there's still some adjustments to do. So next thing. So and also you see how they're all the same color. I want clothes to actually be red. So I'm going to make a class. So I'm going to say when you hover and it's the clothes class, I want the background color to be this red that I've picked. That's just a red. Now if I say that, you see it's not going to do anything. It didn't work. Like the clothes is not red. That's because I haven't given it this class name yet. So if we go to the title bar and under clothes, we're just going to say that the class name is clothes. There we go. Now when we hover over it, there we go. So you see that that's red. Now you see how just boom, it's just red right away. Actually in Windows, there's a slight little transition, a little bit of an ease into this color, about a third of a second. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say transition the background color in 0.3 seconds. We're going to ease in that color. So now if I say that, you see if I hover over, you see how it's a little more gradual. There's a little bit of a fade in. And minimize and maximize, don't do that. So this is just for clothes to care about that. Now what's next? Now you see the items here, they're actually reasonably centered. What are we missing here? I need to do a lot of flexing stuff, I think. Yeah, because the spacing's not right here at all. So let's try to adjust the spacing here on the H1. Let's display this flex and see what that gets us. So the issue here is the icon is on top and the text is on the bottom. There's not enough space in this window though, so I think it's shooting it down. Let me try that. Interesting. Let me reload the page, open the window, move it over here, make it bigger. Okay, so there's some things we have to fix here. You see how it's kind of all just on the left. I want the title to take up all the space that isn't those 3 buttons that are already defined. So we've already displayed flex here. What if I do like width 100%? I don't think that's a good idea, but I just want to see what that does. No, I don't like that at all because you see what it's done. It's given me the width of the container, which is more than I needed it. So we're gonna rely on flex here. We're gonna say display flex, and we're gonna have a flex grow of 1. And let's look up what flex grow is because I don't remember enough to tell you guys. But I remember that's what I set it to. Flex grow property sets the flex grow factor of an item. So you see here 1 versus 2 versus 3. That's a terrible example. Let's look at a better description here. Specified a single number. Okay. The property specifies how much of the remaining space in the flex container should be assigned to the item. Yeah, okay. So I want all of the remaining space. So why does 1 give me that? Is that described in a clear and succinct way? The main size is either width or height of the item, which is dependent on the flex direction. Yeah, we have to tweak flex direction in a second probably. The remaining space is the size of the flex container minus the size. Flex grow is used alongside other. Well, it doesn't really tell me why 1 works the way that I want it to. That's CSS for you, you know? I mean, there sure is a reason, I'm sure, but it eludes me sometimes. I don't remember why it needs to be 1, but let's just try that and see what that gets us anyway. So I'm saving that, and okay, cool. So that actually possibly took up the space. Let's see here. Let's inspect the element. So yeah, so you see the H1, I'm hovering over the H1 right now. You see that's taken up all the space that was left, which is exactly what I wanted. And now the buttons have shot to the right. So cool, the buttons look the way they're supposed to look too. Now let's go back to button and put the width back to 100%. Let's fix that now. There we go. Now, how does this look? Okay, cool. So now that, if you see in the example, it's taking up 100% of its space. So you see the close goes all the way to the right, but the height's not quite right yet. Is that the nav that's like that? No, see, the nav is 100%. So why is maybe I need to set height 100%. Do I? That's weird. I don't think I did that last time. Maybe I did though, hey? You know, maybe I did. So I set the flex grow to get that to fit there. I set this, I got yeah, that part I already finished. So as far as the H1 piece, you see how it's like icon text? I need to do flex on that too, so it'll default like that. So let's do the same thing for the figure. I want that to display as flex, and that should shoot the text to the right, I'm thinking. There we go, cool. So now those are positioned correctly in a way, but I need to clean it up a little bit. Let's try to do some centering. Let's say align items center, I think. Yeah, okay, cool. So that put them on the right plane that way that I want. I'm referring to this text right here, by the way. Let me zoom in as much as I can. There we go. I'm referring to this. I don't want to zoom in too much more because then I lose stuff here that could be relevant. Oh no, now it's locked in the bounds there. Let's refresh this. That's another thing I'll have to deal with. There we go. So there's the window. So you see there. So all we're missing on the buttons is the height, it looks like. And here we're missing the padding. Wait, what? Why is it complaining about this? Oh, it's just not alphabetical. There we go. So we got that piece. Now for the image, I wanted to add, this is for the icon, I wanted to add that spacing. So I want the image to be more to the left. So I'm going to say a margin of 8 pixels all around because I actually want the text to be away from it as well. And if the height is 29 and the icon is 16, what is 29 minus 16 gives us 13. So how could we have top margins of 8? Let me just set this and see what it looks like. Okay, that looks okay, but I'm not comfortable with that. Let me hover over the image. I think I'm going over top of it. Yeah, I'm going too far there. So let's say 6 pixels by 8. Yeah, there we go. That's not ideal either. Let's just set the left and right margins, actually. So just do this, 0. There we go. Oh, man, was any of that working? Because I had this wrong. Huh, was it? That's weird. I feel like some of that worked and it probably shouldn't have. Okay. So if I save that as 0, there we go. So it's just the sides for now. I don't need to deal with the top, I don't think. So far the bar's looking pretty good. So I'm just missing the height right now. So I think with the nav, let's see here. I also want to center these buttons. This is not centered correctly. The square, the X, and the minimize are in theory kind of centered within their boxes, but their boxes aren't big enough. So I'm just going to see here with button. If I set button to display flex, what does that get us? Oh, that doesn't get us what I wanted. Now they're all on top of each other. I think I need the nav to be flex as well. Just keep throwing flex around here. There we go. That gave us the height. Okay, cool. So that actually gave us the buttons the way we want them, minus the icons. The icons are now way at the top left of each button. So now I need to tell the buttons, did I need this then? I think I needed this. Oh, that actually isn't so bad. Huh. That's actually not bad. I wonder if this is better than centering this piece manually. Let's try this. So I want to center the buttons within the button. I'm going to say place content center, place items center. This is just temporary. I'm just playing around with it here because I'm not sure if I need this. So I'm going to try it with and without these comments. Oh, okay, that actually does make a difference. So if you see here, if I comment this 3 pieces out, that the minimize goes down a bit, but that's not actually how it is in Windows. In Windows, the minimize is almost centered with the box, you know? So I actually do want this, I do want to center the button as well. So there we go. So now that's perfectly centered the way I wanted it. So now you see when I highlight over, there we go. So that's starting to look like a window. You drag it, it works that way. You resize it. Oh, even that works. That's going to truncate in the future. That works the way you'd expect it to. Cool. Now let's try maximize too. Okay, maximize didn't quite work the way I expected. I think it partly did, but my calc thing was messed up. So let me unmaximize. Does minimize work? Oh, minimize works. Nice. And unminimize. And close works. Pretty good. So the only thing that wasn't working there was maximize. So let's save that. And that's pretty much it as far as settings I did. So you see here it's complaining. This is that stylint stuff that I just don't want to deal with right now. Selector, no qualifying type. I don't know what it's complaining about there. If you open this up, I'm going to open this and I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys that I have no idea what it's complaining about. Let's go into the browser. Selector, no qualifying type. Disallow qualifying a selector by type. I mean, I understand what it's saying. I don't understand what's wrong with that, I guess, you know? It's like, hey, this seems reasonable to me, but it doesn't like it anyways. But on a long story short, I don't like its opinion. So I'm going to just not do its suggestion, basically. Let me copy that. I'm just going to copy this whole piece where I actually disabled stylint. We're going to go into the stylint config here, and I'm just going to say no. So that was this rule here, and the other rule that I'm breaking is the depth. I'm too deep. I'm going nav button, and then I'm and. But at the same time, that's another one where it's like, why? Like, I guess maybe it's less efficient. So maybe in the future, I'll consider not doing it this way. But logically, I prefer this. So that's another rule that I'm going to disable for now until I can figure out the reasoning behind why it needs to be that way based on their extension recommendations. So there we go. So I just disabled those two rules. Let me close the title bar and open it again and see if it still complains. Cool. So that's gone. It complains. But I'll have to do some research to, I mean, my goal always is to get rid of all of these ignoring of rules. So I'll follow up on this and try to figure out how to not need that. But for now, we're doing it my way. Okay, so let's figure out why maximize doesn't work. So if we maximize here and then I inspect the window and I look at the size, height, was it? 200 pixels. That's not right. Okay. Actually, before we get into that, let's just commit what we have because we've kind of cleaned it up here. So we've added the close to the class name here. We've added all our code to make the window look the way we want, which wasn't that much. And we've had to ignore a few rules until we figure out how to not need to ignore those rules. So styled title bar. There we go. So let's just get that commit in there. Now let's figure out why maximize didn't work, because that's interesting. That should have worked. We're pretty much done, by the way. Oh, right, window below taskbar. So let me test that here. So if I scroll here, so you see, so over top of the icon for the window, that's correct, but over top of the taskbar is not correct. So what do I want to do? I basically just want to take the taskbar nav element and increase its z-index, I think. Yeah. So if we go here to the taskbar, I think I already have a z-index for it. Taskbar. I don't. Okay, I don't. So let's give it a z-index. Z-index, that's weird, actually. Something had z-index. I don't know why, but everything has a lot of stuff has z-index 1. That's weird. I'm gonna put that in my next stream questions. Why does stuff have z-index 1? Question mark. Why does so much stuff? Minimize is not hiding the R&D window. That seems to be fixed. Yeah, this we'll deal with another day, the z-index thing. So yeah, back to this. Let's just set the z-index to 2. So we save that. So let's refresh this to make sure that my tweak actually persisted. So we open a window. It's over top of the icon and it's under the taskbar. Nice. And it's staying within the bounds too. So when I maximize, that's wrong. And I'm just going to inspect this, guys. So if I, right now, yeah, so maximize is not changing the height. Maybe that's because I have my height calculation wrong. Let's go into it here. That's a hook, right? It's the use resizable, sizable. Oh, right, now it's a combined hook, right? So what happened here? So something's not right here. Let's just do the old-fashioned console log of this and see what this looks like. console log. And I'm going to, yeah, I'm just going to do it like this to start with. Wait, why is it? Oh yeah, template literal. There we go. Let's try that. And I'll just tell you, okay, that actually looks legit. It's like calc 100%. Oh, is this, why is this doing this? Let me see what I did for the other one, because I actually thought this was a solved problem in my previous thing, and now it's like a not solved problem. Huh. Let's see here. I'm just trying to figure out how to search my code, because I don't know how to search my own code. Inner height. Oh, okay. So the issue is that this height is me passing something to React R&D. And React R&D is not taking that information as a CSS attribute. It's taking it as, it only wants pixels. It only wants pixels. So I need to calculate pixels. So basically this won't work this way. But good news is basically I just need to figure out what 100% is. And there's a nice way to figure out what 100% is, and it's called window.innerHeight. So basically, we just take this piece here and say window.innerHeight minus the taskbar height in pixels. Now, if we're going to be doing math on a theme setting, this needs to turn into a number and not a string. So I'm going to have to make this one a number, I think, if I'm going to be passing a pure pixel number for the height. So this part, for the most part, makes sense. So I want to take the inner height of the window, the entire viewport window, and then subtract the taskbar. I think that's going to work in most cases. We'll see if some browser gives us trouble. But like I said, I need the height to be a number then. So let's go into our theme, default theme, height. So right now it's 30 pixels. I'm going to switch it to just be 30. And I might end up doing this for all sizes. I'm not sure yet. The issue is if I do it for all sizes, then in my styled components, I always have to make a template literal and add like px at the end or something. But maybe that's okay, because then I'm being very explicit with what it is. But it could also make theming harder. I don't know. For now, I'm going to do it this way. There's also another way to do it in which I create a function called strip units. I was considering doing that, actually. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. No, I don't think I will for now, because I haven't figured this out. But there is another way to do it where I can do strip units basically and just remove the px symbol. But it's arbitrary because I need this to be pixels. So, maybe, yeah. I don't know how I want to do it now. Let's have it be a number for now and let's do the math. But it's not a long-term solution. It's too inconsistent. For that reason alone, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep the theme as a string, and I'm just going to fix it here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, I'm going to get the height of the taskbar here. So const taskbar height equals, yeah, and that's not going to change, I guess. I guess it could change. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make a use memo here, because this is a value. And it's going to be the value of this function. And this function is going to do a lot of stuff. It's going to replace the pixels, and it's going to convert it to a number. There we go. And it depends on this string. So if that string changes because the theme changes, then I need you to update the height. Sorry, update the taskbar height. Yeah. There we go. Minus taskbar height. So how does that look? Oh, I didn't import use memo, right? Okay. What is it complaining about here? Why is this going off screen? Expected 0 to 1 arguments, but got 2. Okay, I put this in the wrong place then. Okay, yeah, I needed a bracket there, then this, then the bracket. There we go. So taskbar height, use a memo number. The number is made here, and if the taskbar height changes, you gotta update it. And it's basically, it's going to remove the pixels for now from the string. And what I like about this, though, I don't like it in a lot of ways, but I like that it matters about pixels, because I care about pixels here because I'm doing pixel math with the inner height. So if this was like RM or something, rem, or this math wouldn't work. So let's try it now. So now I got my window, I maximize, there we go. And as you can see, maybe that it doesn't go in behind here. Like if let me remove this code for a second and just go back to it being 100%. It's commented here. Oh no, there it is. So if I save that now, so you see the taskbar is gray in the back behind it here. You see how that's like gray, but that's the window. Whereas if I put this code back and I press save, you see it'll go blue because that'll be the wallpaper. Yeah, you see, so it fixed, yeah. So cool, and then I unminimize, maximize, and there we go. So now we got a lot. We got a window that looks like a window. So now I could put something else in here. This Hello World app is the Hello World app. Like if you go into apps here at the top, all that it is this very simple thing that just says H1 Hello World. But it's contained within that window. So now I can make any kind of cool app and just contain it within that window. Just like a window. So yeah, what did we do here? We just fixed maximize. We fixed two things, didn't we? Yeah, I'm gonna make this two different commits. So fixed maximize by using the window inner height. And this one is window goes behind taskbar. There we go. Cool. So we just did a few other things there. So yeah, that's a lot, I think, that we did today. I mean, you could argue with me, it wasn't a huge amount. I didn't even finish my Red Bull, so let me finish it quick. Oh, it's good, it's good. Powered by Red Bull Watermelon today. By the way, I didn't mention that. I think we're done, guys. I think we've styled stuff. We styled the desktop icon, we styled the window. It's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty darn close for now. And we're going to have other episodes where we make it 99% perfect. It's never going to be 100% perfect. So, but with that out, I think we can start talking about what are we going to do next stream. What do I want to do next stream? Boy, well, I've got that list now, like I showed you guys, that big to-do list. So maybe you guys can look through that and throw me some comments if you feel you want to do one thing more than another. The big glaring thing that we're missing still is the start menu. Once we have the start menu, we got a lot at that point. We still only have our Hello World app. So once I have the start menu under my belt, I think the file explorer will be the next one so that we can have something to navigate the file system in a cool way. And then we've pretty much got most of the proof of concept stuff out of the way, and we've basically got an OS desktop environment. And then it's just about cleaning up the styles and making apps, man, and making cool features and just kind of getting all the behaviors and everything right. And that's going to be a good focus as well. And that'll take some time. So there's a lot to look forward to. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Throw me a like, please subscribe. If you liked what I did and you want to subscribe, then you'll get notified with all the new videos I make. I keep saying I'm going to make more videos in between these streams, but it's been a bumpy couple of months, so I haven't done too many, but I've done a couple, and I still got more I'm working on, so keep that in mind. But thank you guys for checking out another stream. It's appreciated as always, and feel free to throw me some comments, some likes, some subscribes, anything you want. It's all appreciated. Constructive criticism, all that stuff. See you guys in the next one then. So bye.